Well, this is Baruch here. I'm at the Tiguan Elevator Kollel, and it's time to learn the Zohar on the Parshas for the week. This is the Zohar Parshas Vayakhel. So yesterday the Zohar started talking about Amalek, and it came to a proof where it said that Hasher Karacha Baderech, that met you along the way. Karacha is lashon to call or to meet. So here once we saw that, then the idea was that this is the same language as we call carry. Carry means a nocturnal admission, which makes a person tame. So over here we're coming into the same kind of idea, but we're going to talk about Bilaam. So let's learn the Zohar and listen to the language of the Zohar. Baldah Bilaam Kasiv, in regards to this, is written about Bilaam, Vayikra Elokim as Bilaam. And Hashem called to Bilaam. Here's Vayikra again. It's actually Vayikra without the Vav is the word carry, which once again is Lashon Tuma. Vayikra, so the Zohar said Vayikra Lishnach de Bisavanakat. So he said Vayikra, that is the language of impurity, of Tuma, Nakat. But wait a minute, it said Vayikar Elokim. Yeah, Elokim is the name of Din, but it's the name of Kedusha, of Din in Kedusha. So he asked the question, the Zohar asked the question, V'itema ha'ksiv Elokim, it says Elokim. Alakudsha barichu azmin lay, but what it means is that Hashem invited him, Haku asila, let me try it again, Ela kudsha barichu azmin lay, Haku asila bis'ava the ista'avabe. So he invited him to come to the place, which was his idea to make the Jewish people Tomei, to make him Tomei instead. Bahachu Darga Deihu is Dabek Limista Avabe, that he went to the same level in which he wanted to perform this Tuma and bring it to the Jewish people. So let's see one more, then we'll come back on the Matuk and see how that goes. Ma Abed Bilam, so then what did Bilam do? Ihu Chashiv Be'inun Karbana the Salkola Ela, so he had in mind that the Karbanos that he was going to offer were going to go up Miyad Zamin, so in other words, and perform whatever they needed to do in order to bring a curse on the Jewish people. Miyad Zamin le Kudsha Berichu Ahu Asa, so immediately Hashem, he prepared that particular place. Amalei, he said to him, so this is going to become a tumah for you, the kind of tumah that is fitting for you. So this is what it means. Vayikra Elokim, and Elokim called to Bilam, Vayikra, and he made him Tomei as Bilam. So now let's come over here and see what the Zohar has to say down here on the bottom in the Matuk Madamash. So it's written Vayikar Elokim El Bilam. Ba'amar Vayikar El Lishna de B'Sa'avaneket. V'yikar hu lashon kari v'tuma. It really represents something which is unclean. Kolom shehu nitmacha b'tuma haki sheratza laham shekal yisrael, that he became tamei himself with the tuma that he wanted to pour onto the Jews. Ki bilam kol yedayim v'dayim v'Amalek, because you could really make a deep comparison between Amalek and Bilam. But it turns out that he was really much more difficult, much more hard, much more difficult than Amalek. Amalek wasn't able to arouse the klipa elochoya kli muchan lekach, but he was ready to use the klipa to be able to do whatever he needed to do. But Bilam, in other words, Amalek hated the Jews automatically, and he was ready to use anything in his power to be able to destroy it. But Bilam is someone else. He was ready. That was Amalek. But over here by Bilam, he ran after devils, the Samach Mem, and he aroused them to make a pagam in the upper worlds, in order to be able to uproot the Jewish people down below. Now, what does it mean? Let's go over the words again. He said, to cause damage in the street of the stream of bracha that is coming to the Jewish people and stop it. Kadesh Yuchel Akor, in order to be able to uproot as Yisrael Lamata, the Jewish people down below. So in the spiritual world, and if you understand anything about witchcraft, this is exactly what witchcraft wants to try to accomplish. So then it goes like this. But wait a minute. It said Vayikar Elokim al Bilam. Elokim is Lashon Kedusha. Shehu Shem Kadosh. It's a holy name. The Mashpeh Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu Diber Imo, so it's Mashpeh that Kodesh Baruch spoke with Bilam. But that's not true. Ella HaKodesh Baruch Hu Nikra Elokim, but the Kodesh Baruch Hu in this guise is called Elokim. Remember that Elokim is a language of punishment. He carved the fanav as el makom atumba, so he prepared before him a place for this tumba that he tamuzbo, that he should become tamei in it himself. So that he was holding on a level of tumba to begin with, and so that this should turn, instead of turning on the Jews, it should wind up turning on Bilam. So and then we're going on, and it says Ma'asa Bilam. So what was Bilam doing? What was he trying to do? So we'll spell it out a little bit more. Hu chashav ba'ozam karbanos. He considered that those karbanos la'alos lamala would go up, that the reich from them, which is also the concept of the ruach of them, lamakom hakadusha, that it would wind up, it would be able to rise into kedusha. And to arouse and awaken the samach men, then what should he do in the upper world? That the samach mem is the malach of Esav, to come and make an accusation against the Jews, accuse the Jews. So therefore he brought fire offerings, shekulu kolel, that are completely and totally consumed on the mizbeach, on the altar. L'gevoa, to the higher worlds, to the spiritual worlds. Kedei la'alasi mechabel de kedusha, in order to be able to use this smoke, this ruach from these karbanos, to be able to enter into the world of kedusha. But at the moment that he was doing this, there was no chet amongst the Jewish people. It's like, therefore, what happened with Bilam, there was nothing for this to stick to. The words are, therefore, it was similar, the mashlich Evan, a person that threw a rock al davar kasher onto something that was really hard. And what happens? The stone winds up bouncing backwards towards him. So the same thing about this tumah we're talking about. That what he brought up in order to arouse the forces of the spiritual world came bounced back onto him and reached him. So therefore, let's translate the words. Immediately after this, HaKodesh Baruch Hu, he prepared a place, Haku Shal HaSitra Achra, a place for the Sitra Achra, for the forces of the Satan, the great accuser. Amalei Ratzon Ilo Amalo HaKodesh Baruch Hu, and it's if the Kodesh Baruch Hu said to him, Harei HaTuma Atzlacha, the Tuma is by you now, Kamosha Roy L'cha, which is fitting, because that's fit for you. B'lashon Tuma Koloma, that is, he says, V'yikar Elokim El Bilam. Let me go back over that. So that's what it meant when he said V'yikar. He made him Tomei, Elokim as Bilam. B'lashon Tuma Koloma Shehizmin Lo HaKodesh Baruch Hu Sitra Achra. He called the Sitra Achra onto Bilam. This is Baruch Fleischman. I'm your lift manager. This is the Tikkun Elevator Kolel.